Illinois, Democrats have picked up seats in places they've never won before. The Democratic U.S. Congressman Cheri Bustos represents Illinois' northwestern 17th congressional district. There it is on the Iowa border in 2016, which she won by 20 points and Donald Trump won by a point. By comparison, in 2012, President Obama beat Mitt Romney there by 17 points. The congresswoman knows a little about winning in a moderate district. She joins me now. Congresswoman, what's so impressive is about your district. They voted heavily for President Obama, voted heavily for you, voted narrowly by a squeaker for Trump. And so you're interesting because people want to know. You know, I'm surrounded by a lot of progressives, not just in this industry, but socially. And they seem to think, at least in the short run, resistance. Just resist, hate Trump, talk about how much you hate Trump, and that's going to do it. And I'm also looking at these latest numbers that the Trump voters haven't folded. They're 96% where they were last November. The Republicans are heavily for Trump, 4 out of 5. So that resistance ain't going to change history. Well, what will change the history back for the Democrats, your party?
Well, in a district like mine, it can't just be this total resistance. You've got to have a plan. You also have to talk about what you're going to do. And I would argue why I won by 20 and why President Obama won is I talked about jobs and the economy nonstop. I've done that from the day I announced in 2011, and I've done that for all 3 of my elections as well. Talk about jobs and the economy. That's what people want to know you're going to be fighting for.
What's the Democratic plan to create more jobs?
Well, we've got to talk about that.
What is it? Is there one?
Oh, absolutely.
What is it?
There's a Make It in America package that's been around actually for several terms now. Steny Hoyer, who's our #2 ranking Democrat in the House, he's the architect of this. We all have several bills in it. But it's looking at things like I've got a bill in there called Boosting America's Exports. So what is it goes into some of the small towns like I represent, talks with manufacturers and says, you've got a product that you could sell overseas, but you're not like a John Deere. John Deere's in my district, the world headquarters. You know, they have lawyers sitting around the table and they can find countries to export to. These smaller companies can't. So we're saying let's put these export assistance centers in these smaller areas, work with businesses, and find a place where so they can sell their products. And it's ideas.
You mean the government's not doing that now?
Well, they do, but
I thought every trade mission, every one of our embassies has a commercial attaché whose his or her job is just what you said, to create opportunities for American business overseas.
We need to do better, and we need to focus on some of these small towns where we as Democrats have not been successful.
What about the cultural piece, the economic piece? I can see. I think Democrats have always been trusted. Always. They created Social Security, they're going to keep it. They created Medicare, they're going to keep it. They created Obamacare, they're going to refine it and make it better. They're going to fight for it. People know that. But the sense that people are really being talked down to, you know what it is, a sense of the Democratic Party being the Ivy League party, the party that's sort of a little sniffy towards regular people, and they get it, they don't like it. Explain that. How do they vote for Trump? Trump's playing on that all the time.
Well, I'll tell you what I do, and this is something that I'm sharing with people who are members of Congress currently and those who are looking to run for Congress. I'm sharing these ideas with them. When I'm not out in Washington, I'm at home, and I do a couple things that I think are somewhat unique. One is we do what's called Supermarket Saturdays. So on Saturdays, I walk up and down the aisles of grocery stores all over this congressional district. I represent 7,000 square miles, 14 counties. And while grandmas are buying their cornflakes and grandpas and dads are buying their tangerines, I'm introducing myself. I say, what do you want me to know when I head back out to Washington next week?
Do you keep notes?
I have a staffer with me, so in case we have to open a case, then we can do that too. But we listen, and then we go back out to Washington, and we do introduce legislation.
So you meet the people and hear them.
Listen to people.
I like that. By the way, when I ran for Congress in my 20s, I developed one technique for supermarkets. So I don't have any money, so we can't be. I always worked against traffic in the supermarket. I know how people start to the right and go around. I would start from the left and go around the other way because I'd only bump into the person once. I'd be meeting them as they came at me, and then I'd be going through, and I'd always meet everybody that way.
I'll use that at my next Supermarket Saturday.
I like it. You're being humble. You know that. You work against traffic. That's how you meet people face to face.
I like it.
You don't want to come up behind somebody. You want to. You'll spook them. But thank you. You sound like you got a winning message. Congresswoman Cheri Bustos,